everybody, I'm Alice Ford and this is Nature News. We're just 2 weeks into 2021 and this year has already been a roller coaster. Politics aside, we have a lot of work to do as a global family in protecting our planet's biodiversity and wildlife. So here are a few of the things happening this week in science, climate, nature, wildlife, and environmental policy around the world. Now, some countries and cities are making great climate resolutions to start off the year. And one of those cities is Mexico City, where they've put a broad ban on single-use containers, forks, straws, and other ubiquitous items. Now, the lawmakers in Mexico City actually passed the ban on plastic bags, utensils, and plastic items back in 2019. So they've had a little over a year to get the city ready, and there's more than 9 million people there, so they had a lot of work to do. And not a lot of people even know about the law, so this is making things really challenging. You know, a lot of vendors that sell food on the streets are really ill prepared to make the switch. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll be monitoring the situation. Now, apparently, light, allegedly biodegradable bags have become more common at the city's street food stalls, and plastic straws are offered less often. And you might even find fresh tortillas being hand-wrapped in paper or cloths that buyers bring themselves. But without the imposition of fines, as we've seen kind of in every other municipalities that has done this around the world, the change is likely going to be really slow. And as we know, plastic pollution is a huge issue. We need more cities to do things like this. To give you some perspective, Mexico City creates about 13,000 tons of garbage per day. So this is definitely a step in the right direction. And guys, going plastic free might be easier than you think, especially with an easy to carry bamboo utensil set. And right now you can actually enter to win one of your very own from Emerging Green. I've got a link down below in the description. You can click on that, enter your details, and hopefully you can take one home. I bring them on every hike and adventure and always have one in my work bag too. In the UK, they've actually enacted a plastic tax. This is on the producer side. It's for anyone using packaging with less than 30% recycled material. So there's a newer company called Doxa. They're actually out of the Scandinavian area. They actually create stretch film, which is made of 50% or more recycled material. Now, when I say stretch film, I mean the kind that goes around big pallets and things like that that are shipped long distance for all kinds of different industries. So this is a really great advancement because that's something that consumers don't necessarily see, but makes a big difference. 2021 may also be the first year that renewable energy investments surpass fossil fuels. So if you haven't greened your investment portfolio, right now is a great time to do that. One of my favorite green banks is called Aspiration. You can bank with them, you can also invest with them, and they give a percentage to save forests and fight pollution. Now, when it comes to building sustainably, harvested wood is the best material. Every 7 seconds, the sustainable forests of Europe actually yield enough wood to build a 4-person family home. Now, carbon is actually absorbed by the growing trunk, it's then locked up in the house, and then the trees are replanted. So you never have that carbon being released into the atmosphere. Wooden construction also lessens the enormous carbon impacts of using concrete and steel. And cross-laminated timber, like plywood, actually enables the use of wood for large areas of floors and walls, so it's pretty efficient. And over in France, the government has actually ruled that all new public buildings will be made from at least 50% timber in the next couple of years. Wood is a great building material, but it's not great for burning. I mean, I grew up when I was really little with a wood stove. In the winter, you see lots of chimneys going, but it's actually making worse pollution in a lot of rural areas. Now, this is thanks to wood-burning stoves that release carbon monoxide, volatile gases, and cancer-causing compounds. Now, new studies have actually showed that children who grew up in homes with wood stoves have higher instances of asthma and respiratory problems. Now, there are efficient and emission-friendly stoves. So if you do have a wood stove and you're looking to switch, you could get a emission-certified wood stove. You could also switch to a pellet stove or another heating option like a heat pump or something of that nature. I know this isn't an easy or cheap option for most people. So you can also check with your local utility company to see if there are any rebates that exist in your area. Across the world, air pollution is to blame for hundreds of thousands of stillbirths and miscarriages in India, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. And South Asia has the highest burden of pregnancy loss globally. It's one of the most PM 2.5 polluted regions in the world. And the researchers estimate that for every year from 2000 to 2016, about 349,000 babies were lost, and they were associated with air pollution exceeding India's regulatory standards for PM 2.5. Now, I've talked about this in the past on past episodes of Nature News about how bad the air pollution is in some places in the world, especially in India. They've said they're going to make more coal factories. This is very bad, and hopefully that does not happen. Now, the Trump administration had opened up the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge to bidders this past Wednesday, and guess what? No major oil companies made bids, which is fantastic news. There were $14 million in bids from small companies, which is only about 1% of what the Trump administration promised. Now, the fight to keep this area pristine is far from over, but I'm really hopeful that the onslaught of new lawsuits and our new president here in the US will keep it protected. I also wanted to share this video, which proves the effectiveness of wildlife corridors over freeways and roads. If you've got one of these in your neighborhood, let me know, because we need more of these in every state and every country to protect wildlife. And I would just like to say bravo to all of the ones that have already built these corridors and saved countless animals. They are expensive, but worth it. My home city of Los Angeles is actually in the process of building one of these right now. They're supposed to start construction later this year. And don't forget to drop me your comment with the best wildlife spotting you've ever had right down below. Did you make any resolutions about your health this New Year's? I know a lot of us usually do. And I hope on that list was kicking processed foods, because ultra processed foods, not only are they calorie dense, they're nutrient poor, and they're full of unregulated ingredients that might be making you sick. Now, many of these foods require sophisticated equipment and technology. In addition to being industrially produced ingredients, such food also contains numerous additives, including dyes, flavors, things like corn syrup, emulsifiers, thickeners, and artificial sweeteners. Further, the industrial chemicals used in the packaging and the food processing are horrible, and they will make you sick. Now, these things are like BPA, PFAs, perchlorate. Those are all found in these highly processed foods. And the US FDA, they're really not doing anything to regulate these chemicals. Now, the results have been that especially Americans, they're getting sicker from diabetes, obesity, heart disease, learning disabilities, memory problems. The list of chronic health conditions goes on. And so many of these are related to the things that we put into our bodies. And so many of these can be blamed on these highly processed, unregulated foods. Now, the FDA has allowed more than 10,000 chemicals to be used in our food processing and packaging, and many have been linked to things like endocrine disruption, neurological and behavioral problems, cancer, heart and liver disease, and much more. So I urge you, for your health, for your family's health, this year, make an effort to buy locally grown produce and meats. Instead of buying processed foods, you can also make your own foods, you can can things, learn some new skills, and most importantly, know what's in your food when you buy it. Well, that's all I've got for you guys this week. I know this was a long one, but make sure you subscribe, because this is a new channel dedicated to nature news. Don't forget to share this video with a friend and click on the link in the description to enter that giveaway for a bamboo cutlery set of your own.